Oh, good morning. So, we are at the University of Washington campus today, mostly just to walk around at a really nice place and give you a little talk about some things that I wish I knew about before transitioning. So we're going to start today with family and community. And I think it's worth mentioning before we dive into this one that I knew a little bit about this one before I transitioned, but I don't think I really understood the reality of it. So I like to put this category into two kind of places, either like a soft loss or a hard loss. And hard losses are the type of friends and family that just cut you out, or maybe you feel the need to cut them out for obvious reasons. Those are hard losses, and those are the ones that we come to learn to expect. But then we have the soft losses, and the soft losses are a little bit tougher because a soft loss is sort of just like this person who is trying their very best to show support, but you can really kind of tell underneath it all that they aren't really as supportive as they make themselves out to be. So of course, once you lose all of these people, they get replaced by community, friends and family, or rather friends in a community that eventually turn into family. So then this brings me to the point of community. What I didn't know going into transition was that the friends I would make post-transition would become family. Now, you may have a close friend, that you consider family, or, that girl friend or guy friend you grew up with who's just like your brother. Well, you're gonna need a lot more of those because moms and dads are sometimes those hard losses, and we typically find people in this community who act as mothers or fathers. And in this community, the LGBT community, it is so very important that we seek family, because if we don't have them, well, we are truly alone in this community. This brings me to my next point about fitting in. So this is partly related to like the cisgender community, I think might be a good way to put it. Fitting in is, I've always had trouble fitting in. And I'm sure many of you have as well, being queer and trying to find that community that you feel so connected to. Well, there's going to be a time, and I'll rope back to this point later, where you stop necessarily identifying as like transgender. I mean, you never really stop identifying as such because you can't really avoid as such, but the prominent label, right, the prominent meaning of being trans tends to dissipate. You're three-dimensional, you're not just a flat trans character. And so fitting in, you start to learn quickly that you're kind of back to square one again. It's like, oh shoot, the hardest part of my life is now over. And I'm comfortable as me, but now I gotta kind of find where I exist again in the world. And so fitting in, whether that is, with your community that you found, or, like me, an artistic sort of musical community, you have to sort of restart. And when I was pre-transition, I had thought that, fitting in was going to be sort of just like, okay, I'm trans. Trans is my family. And don't get me wrong, I do have a lot of trans people that I fit in together with. But Also, I have a lot of non-trans people that I have tried to find community with as well. So what I wish I knew pre-transition about fitting in was that you will finally be able to trust yourself about where you belong, where you fit in. And it's because you'll no longer have those nagging feelings in the back of your head telling you that you don't belong anywhere or that you shouldn't be this way, this person, right? Trusting yourself is something that you'll have to relearn again. And fitting in, where do you fit in? Where do you exist at? Is a part of that trust. And so I wish I wouldn't have spent so long trying to find where I fit in and just trusted myself. This next point is kind of two, and I think they're best summarized as privilege and the idea of like a lifelong care. What I wish I knew pre-transition is that when or post-transition, you will lose privilege. Now I knew that, of course, but I didn't quite understand what privilege actually looked like because I was so accustomed to it. Now, this is something that I was blindsided by because privilege comes in so many ways, right? And like, one of the ways that I didn't anticipate loss of privilege was through like my medical and just sort of, you know, my own health, essentially. What I didn't know pre-transition is that for the rest of my life, I am going to have to be focused on my health, on my hormone level, and just, you know, general trans health care that affects us all on some level. If you have surgeries, they're going to affect you, right? If you watch my surgery video, that's why I decided not to go with implants. There's so much there that you just don't know you have until it's gone. And so the lack or loss of privilege is something I really wish I understood pre-transition. So something I wish I knew pre-transition is the attachment to labels and identity. I did a talk about labels a while back ago. You can click that card right up there if you want to see that video. But the idea of labels and identity and the attachment to those labels, I think, is a great way for us who are early in the transition or questioning or just trying to figure ourselves out. They are a great way for us to, pick something out, try it on, see if it fits, and if it fits, great. If it doesn't, we'll try something else on, right? Labels give us identity for a time. And while, like I said earlier, I still obviously identify as transgender, the identity of this label has diluted. So, what I wish I knew pre-transition is that it's okay to call yourself just an artist. Yeah, you are a trans artist, there's no argument there, but is that the label you want associated with the term artist? Or would you rather have visual artist, musical artist, pop artist, rock artist, right? Don't get me wrong, I did it too. I labeled myself as a trans artist, and I think I mentioned in a previous video that I even struggled with so far as branding and trying to understand, if I should diminish myself for the sake of entertainment value or something like that. That was a tough time in my life. But even through that, I still labeled myself as a trans musician. I don't regret it, but I wish I would have spun it in a different way. There's no doubting that I am a trans musician. I am out, I am open, it's important for me to be as such. But I also didn't need to bring that point up to all the music venues in the city of Seattle. Because now, every time around Pride, I always get that call for a gig with a bunch of other drag queens. Nothing against drag queens, I'm just not a drag queen. Alright, so now is a good time for a little bit of interlude. This building right here, this building is the business building in, I think it's called the Foster School of Business in the University of Washington. 2.5 years ago, oh look at, there's a bunny. Oh, cute bunny. 2.5 years ago, I took a class here on advertising. But what I didn't tell anybody is that I wasn't registered and I didn't pay for the class. So I just walked in, and for the entire quarter, I sat in this advertising class, raising my hand, answering questions, asking questions, doing all the things that a good student would do. And then she came over to me, the professor came over to me, and she goes, "Why didn't you do this assignment?" And I said, "I'm not in this class for a grade." And she goes, "Oh, did you come and see me after class then? Why aren't you on my list?" And I was like, oh God, I'm caught. And so I went and saw her after class. And she just ignored that point like it was moot. And I just ignored that point like it was moot. And she was like, "You've been an excellent student. You want to come see me in my office and ask any questions you might have about this topic?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." And so I went to her office a lot the next week, sat down with her, asked a bunch of like business and marketing questions about YouTube and social media and stuff like that. She was so helpful. She loved me. It was great. It was a good time. I don't encourage you to do that. My heart was racing every time I would walk into that classroom. But anyway, that's my story about the Foster School of Business. Let's get back to it. So what I wish I knew pre-transition is that your upbringing will be different than anybody else around you in a way that is unique to only those who have explored gender in some way. So, what I mean by this is that as I am starting to be more accepted, might be the right word, into female groups or female-led groups, I stick out. And I know I stick out, not because of my gender, but because how I hold myself. See, I was raised as a man. Like, that's how my parents raised me. But I know that if I was born a fab and my mother was teaching me how to be a girl, maybe I wouldn't have so many questions about how to fit into female-dominated spaces, right? What I wish I knew pre-transition is that even though I have gone through a transition, I will still feel more comfortable in a male space than I will a female space. And this might change over time. But I didn't know how to hold myself in those spaces because I wasn't raised as somebody who was supposed to be in those spaces. So it's okay to be in those spaces, though. Just know that existing in those spaces may be uncomfortable for a while, but hopefully you fit in because you found the community that you found by trusting yourself, and you just get more comfortable as time goes on. I didn't know this whole place existed yet. I think this is all new, but look at, isn't this whole building kind of cool? Like, I'm a fan of architecture and architecture photography. I don't know if you knew that about me, but I am. My camera roll's filled with weird, like, little geometric, abstract shapes. I think I'm gonna take a photo now. All right, so before we roll into this very last point here, I do just want to mention that, oh, what's that? What's that? Is that Pride merch? Oh, that's Pride merch. Oh, great. So we have Pride merch. It's 20% off. This is a closeout sale. The discount code is right here, and this is what we've got. Look at that. So if you do want to support this channel, thank you so very much. The link is right here, or you can check out the link down below. I personally like the wings the best, but I didn't think that, you know, having wings on a t-shirt would be a good idea, because then I have to like put my camera on the back of me all the time, and I don't know if that would really work out on video to, you know, show you what I'm wearing. So anyway, get the wings. I like the wings. Let's get back to the video. So what I wish I knew pre-transition. Relationships. Oh man. I did a video on this topic a little while back ago. Again, the card's right up there. If you want to see that video in its entirety, it's a doozy. It's a very honest and raw one, so you'll be in for a treat on that one. Relationships. I really wish I knew how to navigate them as a female person, because the thing is that, like, it kind of goes back to the idea of how you're raised. I wasn't raised with, you know, the typical feminine worries and, you know, ways to navigate relationships with men, putting sexuality aside for this topic. It's been a challenge for me, because I had to learn as an adult person how to navigate a relationship with a man as a woman. It's tricky. So then, what I wish I knew pre-transition is that dating will be different. Seeing people will be a challenge, with one exception. And that exception is, one, people who are open-minded, like my current partner. Thank you, honey. I love you. Or two, you know, people who are also transgender or have some sort of LGBT status around them, right? Dating is not something that will come easy to some of you. It might come easier for some of you as well. It's just one of those things that you have to practice with. And I wish I knew that pre-transition. All right, I think that's all I got for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please click the subscribe button. I love subscribers like you. If you want to like this video as well, I'd appreciate that. Liking is a great way to help creators like myself and any other YouTuber. YouTube likes when people like their videos. So I appreciate all your support. If you want to check out that merch, it's down below. And yeah, I upload videos every Thursday. Well, except for next week, because I have surgery next week. Remember I mentioned the lifelong care thing? Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I brought that one up. All right, see you in the next one. Bye, take care.